clear message. While the US policy on drones may have changed, high-level targets are still at risk. Alan Fisher, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Omar Shakir is the co-author of the book Living Under Drones, and he joins us live from Stanford in California. Now, Omar, the targeted killing of Wali or Rehman may have dealt quite a serious blow to the Taliban structure. Doesn't this just go to justify the use of drones?
Sure. Well, I think it's important, first of all, that we don't jump to conclusions in this particular case. The primary source of information we have right now about the identity of those killed in this drone strike is anonymous Pakistani officials. And our research indicates that in many cases they've gotten the identity of those who have been killed wrong, or in some cases have purposely misled populations. We know that this is the third time that Wali Rehman has been reported to have been killed. And his predecessor Masood, was reportedly killed 5 previous instances, including in one case in which 45 civilians were killed. And of course, his death, the TTP has been reported to be behind suicide bombings in Pakistan, but there are reasons really to question why this drone strike is taking place now and why him in particular. After all, the AUMF, the primary legal justification that the United States has used for this drone campaign, indicates that the U.S. only will go after targets that are linked to the 9/11 attacks. However, the TTP, or the Pakistani Taliban, has never been alleged to be behind 9/11 and has largely focused on targets within Pakistan. And of course, we also know that both of the candidates for Pakistani leadership, both Nawaz Sharif and Imran Khan, had discussed in their campaign wanting to negotiate with the Pakistani Taliban.
Well, I want to take you up on that particular point, that the Taliban is not just a threat to American security, it's also a threat to Pakistan security as well. Now, Nawaz Sharif had campaigned against the use of the drones. Do you think, however, that he may change his mind as he comes into office as Prime Minister-elect, particularly as drones may actually prove to be part of a boost to his security of his country?
Sure. I mean, it's certainly possible. We know that in many cases the rhetoric of Pakistani officials about drones has differed from their actual policies behind the scenes. But I think it's important to understand the potential messaging that may have been behind this strike. Our research indicates that the United States has at times used drone strikes as a way to message or pressure the Pakistani government to take certain actions. So there is reason to question whether or not this strike that supposedly targeted the member of the TTP that was most inclined to dialogue a few days before the Pakistani new government comes to power, on the promise of wanting to negotiate with the TTP, about whether or not this really was motivated by a desire to change those policies. But again, I think the most important really aspect of this drone strike was that there were 6 others killed. And in spite of the promise of President Obama to be more transparent and acknowledge mistakes when they're made and when civilians are killed, we don't know the identity of these 6 other individuals. But we do know that it took up to 1 hour for rescuers to actually get into this strike site and actually rescue victims. And our research indicates that the United States policy of targeting first responders has resulted in first responders being slower to get to the scene and to actually help rescuers get medical attention. So I think the identity of those 6 individuals is important. But
Omar, yes, the issue of
Sure.
civilian deaths will always be a very controversial one when it comes to drone policies. Now, Omar Shakir there speaking to us from Stanford. 7 people have been rescued.